Buying someone's entire Pokemon card collection can be a really risky move. Typically, you're either going to get a really good deal or a really bad one. This video goes over my recent collection purchase that cost me $4,050. This is the most money I've spent on buying someone's collection, and what it entails is 25 PSA 10s from some of my favorite sets. But what cards exactly did I buy? Well, let's first take a look and see how it all got started. I had someone reach out to me on Instagram trying to liquidate their collection in an attempt to move those funds into a DBZ purchase that they were trying to set up. When they reached out, the conversation went something like this. They asked if I was looking to buy some Japanese E-Series PSA 10 holos, and I said, maybe it just depends. Can you send a list and pictures of what you have? So once the list and pictures were sent over, I was definitely interested. And by the way, if you're new to the hobby or new to the channel, this is what Japanese E-Series is. It's basically the last few sets printed by Wizards of the Coast or Media Company ending in 2002. And if you don't know me, my collection goal is to have all of the Japanese E-Series set holos and a few other ones. Yeah, I know I'm crazy. Now that I knew what was on the table, it was time to start negotiating. And it went on for a while, about 10 days in fact. And honestly, I didn't think that we were going to come to an agreement because there was about a 2-day period where we both basically said that we couldn't come to terms, but we ended up working it out and settling on a figure that we were both comfortable with. Now, if you're asking yourself, how are we this far into the video and we still haven't even discussed what cards I bought? Well, let's break it down. Out of the 25 cards, 11 of them I already owned. So I knew that right off the rip, I was gonna be selling those because I don't have any intentions of keeping duplicates. Feel free to stop and read this list if you would like, but for the sake of time, let's keep it moving and we will have pictures and video later on in this video. So the remainder of the 14 out of 25 I actually didn't have, and they were all cards that I needed for my personal collection. But the thing is, before I had received the package and handled the cards in person, I hadn't really decided what I was going to do with the cards that I still needed. So after looking through them and making sure that they were quality enough PSA 10s for my collection, I had a rough idea of what I was going to keep and what I was going to sell. But I also wanted to break it down in a couple different analytical ways. I wanted to see what the pop reports look like, which ones had multiple listings or had very few that I could potentially yield a premium on, and how hard those cards would be to replace in the future, because ultimately every single card out of the 14 I'm eventually going to own in my collection. So after doing all of that, that left me with 6 cards that I was 100% going to keep in my collection. But I was curious, after selling the rest of them, how much would this cost me, or could I potentially make money by keeping 6 cards? So without doing any math beforehand on the prices, when I was crunching all the numbers, I came within $50 of what I spent on this entire collection, and that was using eBay's lowest last sold price and accounting for eBay fees. I've already sold a few of them on Instagram, and I'll be vending at Denver Collecticon. And if you are going to Denver Collecticon, hit me up, say hello, that'd be awesome, maybe buy me a free drink. So I'm hoping to avoid eBay fees on a lot of these and potentially sell some of them above their last sold prices. So after keeping the 6 cards, breaking down the figures, I figured I would be somewhere within this spread after everything's said and done and I sell through the cards. Now for the part of the video where we break down exactly what I bought, what I'm keeping, and what I'm going to be selling. So bear with me, we'll get through these pretty quick. These are the cards that I'm selling. I'm selling the Meganium, Blastoise, Poliwrath, Cloyster, Kingler, Dugtrio, Golem, Fearow, and Pidgeot. The Tyranitar, Skarmory, Hypno, Victreebel, Octillery, Lantern, Steelix, Azumarill, Kabutops, and Vileplume. And here are the 6 cards that I'm keeping. And by the way, the scratches are on the cases and not on the cards, so I just need to go to Walmart and get the proper equipment to buff those scratches out. So I'm keeping the Ampharos, Ariados, Magneton, Jumpluff, Mewtwo, and this Butterfree. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that the Butterfree is a CGC 9.5. It's the only CGC card in this, and it has quad 9.5 subgrades. The seller originally bought this card with intent to crack it and move it into a PSA 10, but they didn't have the time to do so. So I've already cracked this card because cracking a card on camera is really difficult with my setup, and I've looked through this card thoroughly and I really think it's going to be a strong PSA 10 contender. So after breaking down all the numbers and finite details, let's see how well we did. So if we're assuming that the Butterfree is going to hit the PSA 10 and we use the lowest last sold prices for the Ariados, the Jumpluff, the Mewtwo, and the Butterfree, we actually can't use the lowest last sold prices on the Magneton and the Ampharos because they don't have any recent sales. So what I ended up doing was I looked at the lowest buy it now price and I cut it in 50% just to be more conservative. That way we're playing on a worst case scenario basis based on current market conditions. So when we total all that up, that puts us at $1,360 in value for the 6 cards, minus the $15 in grading fees for PSA. So a 33.58% gain isn't a huge win, but I'm still really happy with everything, all things considered. The seller was hopefully able to put those funds into the DBZ purchase that they were trying to make, and I'm hopefully gonna be able to set some really cheap or potentially free cards back in my collection. And if you are interested in any of these cards, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. If you send me a timestamp or a clip of this specific part of the video to let me know that you made it this far, I'll make sure that I give you a really good price. Are you trying to further your collection goals too? Are you exploring all avenues and options in order to do so? Well, if you are, I have a video for you right here where I give some really good tips and advice on not only how to become a serious collector, but a better one too.